So Facebook and Instagram, as we announced, I'm going live every Monday at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I'm just going to allow people to log on and join us. So this is our first official planned live. Some of you may have seen and joined me in my lives at the end of last year, 2020. Happy New Year, everyone, by the way. I keep forgetting it. Today's the 4th of January, 4 days into 2021. I hope you're all well. I hope you all had a nice Christmas and a nice New Year. If you're celebrating this, I celebrated both, but also have been working and holding the fort here at Northern Immigration while a few people are on holidays, well-deserved holidays. Okay, so we have a few people joining and waving. So I've got, so you see me here at my desk, and also just in case I need to look something up. But I mean, in general, I could do these lives from pretty much anywhere. I just thought for the first official one, let's do it here at my desk. So I've got two phones in front of me. One is with Facebook. We currently have 10 people joining us on Facebook Live. And we have 4 people so far on Instagram Live. And I do know there's a few familiar faces. I do remember Suraj from Brisbane, I believe. I remember Pascal and from Darwin, I believe. I remember Frida. And then, there's already a first comment from Austin. And thanks also to everyone who has voted. So I think we gave you 4 topics to choose from for me to talk about today. The first one was DAMA Visa, because it's a very popular request in regards to the inquiries we're getting, in regards to the consultations we conducting. We're doing a lot of DAMA visas. The second topic was skilled migration program, because there has been a lot of changes, and that's also a very popular visa program. So we're doing a lot of skilled visas, subclass 189, subclass 190, and subclass 491. And then we also offered to talk about travel exemptions. So this is really important for people who are offshore. So because obviously this is online, so some of you may be in Australia, some of you may be outside of Australia. There's someone, Phoenix Like Fire on Instagram from Uzbekistan. Wow, that's very exotic. We are streaming to Uzbekistan. How awesome. So maybe put in the comments where you are. If you're in Australia, let me know what location. Like if you're in Darwin or on the East Coast or on the West Coast or somewhere down south, Melbourne or Sydney or Adelaide. And if you're overseas, let me know what country you are. Okay, so the numbers are increasing on Facebook. So we have now 18 people live on Facebook. Austin is in Sydney. Instagram has dropped off. There's one person live at the moment, so I'm not sure if that is really the number, because I get comments and notifications. So, Ulas is from Melbourne. How are things in Melbourne and Sydney in regards to COVID? I understand, I think there was no cases in Sydney recently, so that's really awesome, making progress. We have people from Solomon Islands, Darwin, Phnom Penh. Wow, I was in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. When was that? Probably 2014, maybe. Had an amazing time. I traveled through Vietnam and I traveled through Cambodia. I went to Angkor Wat, of course, but also lots of other phenomenal places. Had an amazing time, loved it, would go back in a heartbeat. Really, really great. Okay, so I've got now 20 people live on Facebook. It still shows one person on Instagram. I hope that my connection is okay with the Instagram people. But anyways, we also put the recordings up on both channels. But obviously, if you're live, and that's the whole point, if you're live, it's just a different experience, like anything. And also you get the chance to ask me questions. And this is all for free. So, but also please note, okay, this is general information. I cannot go into a lot of personal details. So this is not going to be a consultation. Okay, so I trust you do understand that. I will mainly talk about general information. I'll give you updates. But look, definitely happy to answer questions if it doesn't involve me having to deep dive into someone's situation, someone's circumstances. So you never know. If you have a question, just put it in the comment box and it may be picked and it may be answered, okay? But if you need advice, if you have a specific situation in regards to your personal visa and immigration situation, then please book an appointment for a consultation. You can either book one with me. There's a separate booking form for appointments with me, or you can also book a consultation with one of my team members. Great. All right. So, drum roll. The winner of the topic, or the topic that has been chosen the most out of the 4 topics, was the DAMA visa. It was very close with the skilled migration program. Okay. So I'm thinking we already have the topic for next week, because I will be doing these lives on a regular basis every week, every Monday. I will be going live. Not sure yet about for how long I will be staying live. I guess it really depends on, how many people we have online, what's the engagement like, because, I would love this to be interactive. So yeah, I definitely encourage you to put your comments, put your questions, let me know what's on your mind. You can pretty much share things with me and with others. Everyone can see your comments, so be mindful of that as well. So let's get started. Okay, so the DAMA visa is the Designated Area Migration Agreement. So short is DAMA, DAMA. It all started off back in 2015 in the Northern Territory. So the Northern Territory was the first territory in Australia that had the DAMA visa available to migrants. Meanwhile, it has now grown, and there's now also other states and territories that offer the DAMA visa. Having said that, because it has been the longest in the Northern Territory, it is also the most developed in the Northern Territory. It has the most occupations, and it's just we find it's just the best program in regards to DAMA is really in the Northern Territory. But it's also offered in, for example, Far North Queensland. It is offered in South Australia, so regional Victoria, and there's probably going to be more states and regional areas that will start with DAMA, and it will grow. I believe regional migration is definitely going to be a focus in the immigration sector. But yeah, this is where we're at the moment. So the DAMA visa requires you to be sponsored by an employer. Oh, actually, do we have any employers available here online today? Is there any people who run a business or are managing a business? because it would be definitely worthwhile for employers to joining us today as well. This is maybe something where our LinkedIn contacts could be valuable. We will be adding LinkedIn as a live as well. We're just currently looking into how we can manage, because it obviously has to be all simultaneously. So anyways, DAMA is employer sponsored, so that means you need an employer to sponsor you, okay? Now, this is where some people switch off, think, oh, this is too hard, or, big question mark, how can I find an employer to sponsor me? Well, it really is like looking for a job, okay? So when you look for a job, think about that. How do you start with that? You look on online job boards. In Australia, the most common online job board is Seek. So it's seek.com.au. That's pretty much, and there's others, but Seek is definitely the most used online job board from companies, organizations, and employers in Australia. So this is definitely a place where I would check daily, okay? Or maybe even twice a day. You can search for location, you can search for keywords, you can search for the occupation. So then, you just really need to apply for the job, or maybe even approach companies that you would like to work with. Approach them directly. Speak to the human resources department. Speak to whoever runs the business if it's like a smaller business. Usually in regional areas, there is a lot of small businesses. And sometimes you just need to, obviously start working in the job before you can ask for sponsorship. So in this regard, it does help if you have time left on your visa. I always recommend don't leave it to the last minute before you start taking action in regards to, looking for a pathway for permanent residency in particular. The good thing is about DAMA, it has a pathway to permanent residency. And another good thing for DAMA is it has more occupations and different occupations than there is on the skilled occupation list. Okay? And especially, it depends which DAMA list you're interested in, as to, if it's Northern Territory, or if it's Far North Queensland, or if it's South Australia, or the regional Victoria. So it all depends where you're looking at. So that's very important. So say, for example, we use Northern Territory DAMA, because we do a lot of DAMA visa applications for the Northern Territory, and we're using the Northern Territory occupation list. There is occupations for skilled and semi-skilled occupations, all right? So meaning there's 4 different skill levels. Skill level 1 is the highest, and skill level 4 is the lowest. And subject to the skill level, this is the requirements that you need to meet, such as the qualifications and or the work experience. Now, say you are a skill level 4 occupation, which is the lowest skill level. And to be honest, when it comes to immigration, it doesn't really matter, if it's a skill level 1 or a skill level 2, 3, 4. What does matter is that you're meeting the requirements, okay? Vaja, I'm hoping I'm saying that name correctly, Vaja Jimmy. Yes, there is a DAMA occupation list, and it is available. So if you pretty much just type in DAMA, for example, are you looking for DAMA Northern Territory or a different region? So where was I? Yes. So it's important that you're meeting the requirements for qualifications and requirements for the work experience. Now, the great thing is, if you are, for example, a skill level 4, then DAMA Northern Territory allows you to just meet the requirements with only work experience. So that means you don't actually need a qualification. Because when it comes to visa and immigration, mainly you need both, okay? For most visas, you need both. You need qualifications and work experience. There's some occupations and some visas where it's okay to have just qualifications. And then there's other occupations and visas where it's okay to have just work experience. So the DAMA is a visa where, depending on the occupation, where you can just have the work experience and you don't need a qualification. So that's another advantage. I did mention the permanent residency. So how the DAMA works is, it is a 4H2 visa, and the 4H2 has 3 different streams. And the labor agreement, which is the DAMA, is one of the streams. So you would be getting the the 4H2 labor agreement stream for your DAMA visa. And that means after 3 years sponsored by your employer under the DAMA visa, you can then apply for your permanent residency for you and your family members that you may have added to your visa application. So that means partners and children. So yeah, this is a really good pathway, because as many of you know, getting permanent residency in Australia is becoming more and more difficult. So the DAMA has several steps. And again, I definitely urge you to plan enough time especially for a visa like the DAMA, okay? Because there's 2 parties to it. There's the employer. So we work with the employer to make sure that their part is all, everything is in the right format, and we apply on behalf of the employer to the government. And then the second part is with you as the applicant, okay? So we have both. Now, we start off with the employer part, but we also parallel work with you on your application part. With the employer, it is very important, again, using the Northern Territory as an example, that the employer has been operating in the Northern Territory for at least 12 months, okay? But this is something that we also make sure that when we start the process, that the employer is eligible to apply under the DAMA, okay? So this is part of the eligibility process, where we make sure that you are eligible as well as your employer. The first step is to apply for the endorsement. Yeah, so that means we are applying for the employer to be endorsed by the regional government to apply for the DAMA. Once the endorsement has been given by the regional government, that is when we apply for the second step, which is the labor agreement. Once we have that, then again, it depends on the occupation. Certain occupations need to undergo what's called a skills verification process, which is similar to a skills assessment, but not within a special authority. It is within the regional government, and it doesn't cost you anything. So there's no government fees for the skills verification. Skills assessments do cost money additional to the authorities, but not for the skills verification. After the skills verification is the nomination. This is where the employer nominates you as the applicant in the occupation. And then the last and final step is the visa application for the applicant and the dependents, if there are any. And only once we have lodged that last step, that is when you are eligible and you will get a bridging visa if you are onshore. So if you are in Australia, you will get a bridging visa once we have lodged the DAMA visa application. I think I may stop here and just go through the comments and see what questions you have, because I note we are already 20 minutes into the live, and I kind of want to cap it to 30 minutes. So let's just see, because this is really meant to be a brief live for me to check in with you, to show my face, to make contact, and just, to give you general information about a certain topic. Okay, so I'm now on Facebook, and I'm just now scrolling through the Facebook comments. So there's one about Austin's asking something about points. So I assume that is about skilled migration. We're now talking about DAMA. Skilled migration, we'll talk about that next week. Or if I have time in the end, I'm happy to, answer questions in regards to other subjects. There's questions about partner visas. So partner visa is actually also a really good topic. I love partner visas. It's just, romance and love. And if you can bring people together that belong together, that is the best feeling ever. So partner visa would definitely be, maybe we can talk about that. So next week we talk about skilled migration. Maybe we can talk about partner visas the week after. There's a 489 visa. Here we go. Blessmore is asking, is there a list of employers who are registered in DAMA? Well, that is actually a really good question, because you may be referring to the employers who have industry labor agreements. So this is different. So, and I don't want to confuse you too much, but there is such a thing that is called industry labor agreements. So for certain industries, they can have a labor agreement with the Australian government. Today, however, we are talking about the Designated Area Migration Agreement, DAMA. And so for that, for the DAMA, there's no register of employers. But what I do know is that, especially in regions such as Northern Territory, employers are more and more open to sponsor migrants on visas such as the DAMA, because especially in regional areas in Australia, they really struggle to attract and retain qualified and skilled people. Okay. Vaja already answered that question about the occupational list. So yes, there is a DAMA occupation list. Take an example for tailor in DAMA, please. Tailor as in the occupation, like a person who's making clothes, like dressmaker. Is that what you mean, Milan? Can you just clarify that, please? Vaja has clarified for NT. Yeah, so Vaja, if you can just Google DAMA NT, put that into Google, and then it will bring up the DAMA information from the government website. So certain information is available to the public, and then there's other information that is not available to the public, but we as migration agents, we get access to it. But this is an information that is available. So here we have Anil is asking, is the 3 years experience compulsory for DAMA who is currently working in the relevant field? Not necessarily. So the work experience and the amount of work experience is subject to the relevant occupation. So every occupation has a different skill level. Every occupation has different requirements in regards to qualifications and work experience. So usually it's between 1 to 2 years work experience required for DAMA. Okay, so I'm not sure where you got the 3 years, but there's actually 3 years. No, so the maximum is 2 years. 2. Okay. There's a question about 461. We deal with that another time, which is that 461 is New Zealand partner visa. That we can include that into the partner visa discussion, which will happen in a few weeks' time. Ulas is asking, is DAMA and TSS visa the same? Sort of. So TSS is the visa, the 4H2 visa that we apply at the final step. And so the 4H2 TSS visa has 3 streams. It's got the medium and long-term stream, it's got the short-term stream, and it's got the labor agreement stream. And so the DAMA is the labor agreement stream. So yes, it is sort of the same, but it's a stream under the TSS. So Kavasalya is asking, hi, what are the chances for second year DAMA visa approval for the business? Kavsalya, sorry, I'm not sure if I saw your name correctly. I know what it's like. My name gets mispronounced all the time. So apologies. Are you an employer? Would you mind just confirming that? That'd be interesting to know if I have some employers here. Natalia, could you give me example for occupation on level 4, chef, labor? Yeah, sure. So skill level 4 occupations are, so skill level 4 again is the lowest skill level when it comes to the DAMA visa application. So skill level 4 are occupations such as accounts clerk, bookkeeper, personal care assistant, childcare worker, these kind of things. So you ask for chef. So chef is skill level 2. Cook is skill level 3. Yeah, so the DAMA has a whole range in between skill level 1, 2, 3, 4. Does the employer need to pay anything for this pathway? Yes. So that's the, well, kind of good thing for you from a financial perspective. The employer has to pay for certain parts of the application. By law, they have to. And then you can pay for also for a certain part. So how we usually do it, we usually split it in half. So half is paid by the employer and the other half can be paid by the applicant. Sometimes employers choose to pay for everything. But yeah, also very often employers choose to pay half of it and the other half is paid by the applicant. So it's kind of good for you from a financial perspective, so you don't have to pay for everything. But if you have an employer who is willing to sponsor you, but then thinks, well, I don't really want to pay for it, that could be a problem. But then again, I find usually employers who are willing to sponsor, they're also willing to pay. Because essentially for business, it is an investment. It's an investment into you and into their business. And what I always explain to employers is that once they sponsor someone, they have kind of a guarantee that they will have someone in that role, in that position for at least 4 or 5 years. And that for business, especially in a regional area, is gold. Especially in regions such as Northern Territory, as well as Far North Queensland, as well as South Australia, as well as regional Victoria. It's just there's high turnover. Yeah? There's a high turnover of people. People come and go. And as an employer, if you know that that person will be with you for 4 or 5 years, you definitely invest a few $1,000s. So Vaja is asking, any successful cases so far on DAMA program you have worked on? Yes, absolutely. Yes, we have lots of success with DAMA applications. And that's what we really use the consultation process for. So in the consultation, which is the paid service, so once you have an employer as to when you want to go ahead with the DAMA, or also if you want to find out your visa options, I definitely recommend you to book a consultation with either myself or one of my team members, and then you can find out, your visa options, and that's also will make sure that you are eligible for whatever visa you want to apply for. So, and that's really why we have such a high success rate, because we make sure that you are eligible for the visa before we apply for it. We would not go ahead and apply for a visa when we know that you're not eligible for it. So sometimes we get people they come to us and want to apply for, say, for example, for a DAMA visa, and they, for example, want to apply as a chef, okay? And even have an employer to sponsor them and so on. But then we actually find out, well, you don't actually have the required qualifications, or you're lacking on work experience. So you're not eligible yet. But then we show you, in the consultation, we show you how you can become eligible. Okay. Blessmore is asking, is aged disability under DAMA in South Australia? Yes. In fact, we are working on cases for these occupations in South Australia as well as Northern Territory. Very, very popular occupations, and definitely if you are in that sector, definitely make sure that you contact us because there's a high demand. Yeah, definitely. Claudia is asking, is there good chances for childcare workers in the Northern Territory? The answer is yes. Again, we're doing a lot of DAMA visa applications or processes for childcare workers. Blessmore is again asking about that. May is asking, will PR through DAMA subject to annual immigration allocation? That's a future question. So who knows what's going to happen? There's not really... so the DAMA is a regional visa for the regions. And so the regions have an agreement with the federal government of Australia. And so what's going to happen in the future? Who knows? Immigration is always evolving, always changing, so we need to watch this space. And this is, for example, what I will be using these regular weekly lives to inform you about changes. Okay, so if there's major changes happening, then this is definitely something that we'll post about on our website as well as on online. And we will discuss that in lives like this. So now I'm actually going to my Instagram people. There's only 4, but hey, welcome. Okay, so now I'm looking. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm just now going through the... oh, how can I scroll through the comments? Okay, here we go. Aftab Singh is asking, what about outside Australia? They also apply for DAMA. Yes, definitely. You can definitely apply for DAMA from offshore. So this is definitely, if, again, the requirement is that you firstly need an employer to sponsor you, and you also need to be able to meet the requirements in regards to your qualifications and your work experience. After seeing, maybe put in the comments, what occupation are you pursuing? Or, what do you do for work? So I can give you an indication. Then we have someone asking, is there any age limit for DAMA visa for Indonesians? Does it have quota for applicants? That is also a very good point. I nearly forgot about that. So one other advantage of the DAMA visa is that it has an age exemption. So you may know that most visas in Australia have an age limit of 45 in regards to permanent residency. The DAMA has an exemption. So with DAMA, you have a higher age limit. Okay, but because the DAMA has 2 steps to reach permanent residency, it has the temporary phase of 3 years, and then you apply for PR. And you have to be under 50 when you apply for the PR stage. So that is very important, okay? But, so it's not specific for a certain country. So it doesn't matter if you're from Indonesia or from Germany, where I'm from, or from Italy, or from Peru, or from Canada. Doesn't matter. Yeah, that's for all people the same. Okay, any other questions on... That's all from Instagram. So Instagram has now 5 people live. Look, we are already for 37 minutes in. I do want to wrap up, but I also want to reward people who put down their comments related to DAMA. So I'm definitely going to I'm going to finish up with answering the comments that have been made in regards to, or questions raised in regards to the DAMA. So here, Lee Hun has asked, I'm in NT now, but cannot apply the visa because I have Section 48. What should I do now? Yes, Section 48 has also been requested to talk about. That is a very important topic, and we will definitely discuss that at a future live. Section 48 is a very serious matter, so I would definitely recommend to book a consultation in regards to that, because Section 48 means that you have been cancelled or refused a visa. And it means that you cannot apply for a new visa while you're onshore, while you're in Australia. So it's very, very serious. But there is still ways to proceed. So I would definitely recommend to book a consultation, a paid consultation, okay? Because there has been obviously history, and I would really recommend to you to get advice, like proper immigration law advice. As I said in the beginning, this is only meant to be giving general information. Yes, I'm a migration agent, but I'm not able to discuss individual cases in this live. Bollarine Elizabeth is asking, I'm in Canberra, what can I do? Well, it depends, Bollarine. It depends all on your qualifications, on your work experience. What occupation do you have? So again, if you want your visa options assessed, then I do recommend to book a consultation, because that way you'll find out what you can do and what visas you can apply for, or what you need to do to be able to apply for certain visas, to stay in Australia, to have work rights, to work towards your permanent residency and citizenship. Nisha Pun is asking, can we work under the employer during our postgraduate visa and study DAMA subjects that relevant to the job sponsorship? I'm not sure if I understand the question. Is that DAMA related? DAMA subjects? I'm not sure what you mean by DAMA subjects. Vaja, you're very welcome. Appreciate your thanks. How many years does it take for under DAMA? I think there's a word missing maybe, Claudia. How many years does it take for DAMA? Not sure. Can I apply for DAMA but I'm in Canberra? Yes, definitely. So not in Canberra, but you can go to a region where they have the DAMA, okay? So again, it depends on your occupation. You need to choose wisely in regards to where you're going. But also, again, you can already start applying for work and for an employer to sponsor you while you're in Canberra. Canberra, from a migration perspective, is maybe not the most ideal place to be. But again, it totally depends on your qualifications and your work experience and your occupation. Okay, so Canberra can be amazing if you're meeting certain requirements. Raboni and Bollarine, you're very welcome. Thank you for thanking me, and Blesmore as well. So yeah, I'm just now checking over on Instagram. There is no other DAMA questions. Okay, followers and participants of this live, thank you so much and also if you're watching this in the replay, thank you so much for watching. This was the first proper, organized life. So really appreciate you joining me, tuning in. There will definitely a live again next Monday, 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, if you want to be live. And next week we will be talking about the skilled migration program. Okay, so there was a lot of questions about skilled visas. So 189, 491, 190, also previous 489 and the 887, which is the PR stage of the 489. So anything in regards to that and the changes will be discussed in the live next week. Thanks again for joining me. I hope you have a beautiful Monday, or maybe it's still Sunday wherever you are in the world. It's crazy with the time zones. Yeah, thanks so much for your support, and I hope to see you all again next week. Ciao for now.